you lie or do anything like that in your practice and in what you do, that's all that AI is going to do for you. If you do good work, it's going to do good work also. Um, it's also only as good as the actual models that you use. And I'm going to use primarily a OpenClaw model today. And if just a little bit of review for you, OpenClaw means a generic term. It's a generic term for letting the system the software you're using, choose what large language model is best to use depending on the prompt that you give to it. So it's open. So it could use Manus, it could use DeepSeek, it could use Claude, it could use OpenAI, it could use whatever Perplexity, whatever large language model that it has access to. And there are different OpenClaw apps. That's the open side of it. And claw means that it's going to grab whichever the best one is going to be for what it is that you're doing. And it'll then give you reference to what that source, what the claw got, what it used to do the analysis for you. So we've already done a little bit of this one, and I've looked up a site. We're going to do it again in a second. We're going to actually do it live. We're going to use the site that is one I live with day to day right now, the Rockville site, which is just south and west of me here in Idaho. It has two streams that go through it, and both of them have wetlands in them for portions of the year. Those same areas that are wetlands are actual streams during another part of the year. And right now, they're dry. Between now and probably the 1st of September, unless we get some very heavy rainfall, and it's been a very dry year to this point, they'll stay dry, and you will only know by looking at the vegetation that they were ever really a wetland type of an area. Because the definition of a wetland is threefold. It's what kind of vegetation is present, whether there is the visibility of water for at least a portion of the year, and what are the soil types. Those are the three main distinguishing features that you use to determine whether one parcel of ground is a wetland versus an adjacent one, which is usually elevation-wise a little bit higher and is not a wetland. So Mark, Alicia has raised her hand. Why don't you chat with her and see if she's got something that she wants to add to the wetland discussion that we're doing here. If it's just broadly environmental, we'll get to it hopefully before that we're done today or next week. Next week we're going much more to an open format. Again, we'll be finishing this wetland AI for environmental professionals series today.
Do you want me to unmute her or just
No.
okay?
Just get anything that's
Okay.
written, unless she
Yeah,
has
she's
something very specific for AI for environmental professionals.
okay. So she has some links here. So I
Like you could just put those out into the chat, so those would be great.
right. Okay. So she doesn't have anything else.
Yeah. All right. There's a case study that I didn't do, but just to show you one that could be done, which is how you can solve a problem. So there's illegal logging that occurs all the time, and we talked about this. And by the time it gets caught, it's usually too late. It's literally gone. The trees are gone, and so this is something that impacts as many as 30 million plus hectares annually. And they're using AI to monitor them to see if they can stop this illegal logging. Now let's just deal with what I talked about earlier, which is a wetland restoration and a live application for something that we've done. And so if you go out and screen something, you put flags, let's say, around parcels that were once wetlands and could be again. You can then screen a whole area with AI now in a day if they've got it already marked, where in the past that might take weeks or months to do. You can then tell the AI rank each of these parcels for restoration feasibility, give them an ecosystem value, determine what the likely landowner receptivity is, and then it'll start and take what could be 200 different leads, and it could filter it down to the top 30. You could then engage with the landowners and have AI draft a very personal pitch letter for each landowner, of which AI does 80% of the work. You edit the local voice, and then you take it out to those people. And so now you've been a small firm that's had a very large reach. But why is this important? Why is anything related to this AI type of effort important? One, it gives you much improved accuracy. If you add AI to having multiple sensors, it's going to outperform a simple ground survey every day of the week. It's going to be highly repeatable, highly accurate, and it'll give you an incredible amount of good information. It allows you to do large scale monitoring. You can cover an entire watershed or a corridor, even a county, at the same cost as what 3 site visits would do to just monitor one small wetland. Because it's using satellites and it's looking at them over time, you can see what changes are immediately. You don't wait years or long periods of times into the future. And then obviously it'll allow you to make informed decisions quickly. So what can it do yet? We've talked about this, but I really want to emphasize this because most people screw this up. It will hallucinate. I said this a couple weeks ago. It's going to mislabel a cornfield as a wetland. If you don't know what a wetland really looks like, you could look at a cornfield and have AI tell you that it's a wetland. Don't want that to happen. Clouds will block the optical. We talked about that. Trees will hide the ground. No sensor sees everything all the time. You need to understand that. It is completely legal to have satellite imagery of private land, but you really need to have the right kind of mentality as you talk to landowners about their land that has been mapped and categorized by a satellite. Otherwise, they're not going to listen to you at all. Garbage in, garbage out. An AI model's only as good as the labels that it's learned from. So you need to check what's under the hood. And then finally, it doesn't matter what did it, it's yours. You put your liability on the line, your judgment. Those who get your report, those who rely on your report and your information could care less whether it was you that did it or AI if it's wrong. And they'll never give you credit for it if it's right. And you should understand that. And here's 5 takeaways from just this portion that we're going to go into a little bit of this demo. Remote sensing is no longer specialist work. It can be done by anybody. AI has collapsed the learning curve down to where it's really easy to do. Satellite data, for the most part, is still free. And a good prompt will beat a $10,000 study for most screening work. If you don't try it, you're not going to learn from it. So pick one application for yourself and try what this workflow is. And we're going to talk more about it and show it right now. Your judgment, your stamp are the product. AI is just the intern that works at 3 a.m. or whenever it's doing it. And economic means this pays for you, for your clients, and for the land. All right, so we're going to go through some some questions, but first I'm going to go back to a very specific example. And I'm going to show you using this OpenClaw, which is called Base 44. And I think I've told you I've named my super agent Wilma, which is my mother's name. And we're going to do a couple of demos here. And so I've used Wilma already to set it up. And here is a prompt we're going to do. So I'm going to copy this. It's just directly from this. And I'm going to ask at the very end here, give me a professional memo, use appropriate environmental consulting language. So I'm going to take this prompt. Copy it, put it right in here. And I'm going to look for it. So let's just read it for what I put in. I need a baseline environmental site memo for the following property. Rockville Commons Ranch. It's located in Hawaii County, Idaho. This is about what its coordinates are, latitude and longitude. Size is approximately 400 acres. It's high desert, Hawaii uplands, completely surrounded by BLM. This is not accurate for the elevation, but this will work. It's actually about 4,100 feet. Known features 2 converging drainage channels, so Bride Creek and Dead Horse Creek, high desert, shrub, steppe types of topography. The vegetation that's the steppe vegetation. There's no structures, no power grid, 2 wells. Surrounding land use is BLM grazing allotments, and there are no private neighbors. So what I've said is, knowing this and your information and knowledge of the Hawaii region, please draft a 1-page environmental site memo that includes a site description and regional context, likely vegetation, community, and dominant species, hydrology and drainage assessment, potential ecological sensitivities, sage grouse, wetlands, cultural resources, recommended next steps for a phase 1 environmental baseline assessment, which is not the same as an environmental property assessment. A baseline environmental assessment is different. You're going to see it in a minute. Any regulatory considerations, NEPA, National Environmental Policy Act, Section 7, state permits. And I said, format this in a professional memo, use appropriate environmental consulting language. So here it is. This is the memo. I've not seen this, by the way. Here's the memo. So you would put to whoever you're going to send it to, from whoever the name of your company is, today's date. It's a baseline environmental assessment for this location. The project is in Hawaii County, Idaho, and here's the coordinates, the size. they don't like to typically read stuff, so I'm not just going to let you read it while I just sort of summarize it. It's 400 acres. That's a little bigger than it actually is, but I wanted to make it just a little bit larger to talk about. It lies at approximately 4,800 feet. It's on a plateau. Um, it's a high desert landscape. It's basaltic tablelands, incised drainages, expansive shrub steppe communities. It is entirely surrounded by BLM.
When are we seeing the right slide? Because we still see questions slide.
I didn't switch it. All right.
Yes.
Glad you point that out. We need to switch that. Stop share and share again. Now you're seeing it. Is that correct? Seeing the memo?
Yes. Now, yes, we see Wilma now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just reading to you what is the memo is saying, which is the site description and regional context. Now the vegetation community and dominant species. Here's where it's doing something could take you weeks to do otherwise. And that's very specifically in a scientific way identifying Wyoming big sagebrush. So it isn't just saying sagebrush, it's giving you the genus and species and even the subspecies. Thurber's needlegrass, which is very common in this type of area, which is the scientific name Acanathrum thurbarium. The shrub species are big sagebrush, rabbit bush, green rabbit bush, bunch grass, which includes blue wheatgrass. Again, this would take you weeks to do this study otherwise. So what's the hydrology? There's two converging channels. Suggests a potential jurisdictional wetland, which it is. Gives the hydric soil indicators, wetlands, and so on. And then what are the sensitivities? Which are the real problems? Hawaii County is designated Hawaii County is designated as priority habitat for greater sage grouse under the 2015 Idaho Sage Grouse Conservation Plan and the BLM Resource Management Plan framework. Again, you wouldn't know that if you didn't do this. The site's shrub steppe character and proximity to BLM make sage grouse presence highly probable. By the way, we've not seen any. A lek means where are they at when they breed? That's what the lek is called. And you should do these kinds of surveys and nesting habitat assessments prior to any kind of ground disturbance. What are the jurisdiction of wetlands? The drainage confluence warrants a formal wetland delineation, and it gives you reasons why. These used to have Native Americans, so there's some historic cultural resources related to the Northern Paiute and the Shoshone-Bannock peoples. So you would really want to make sure to do that if you were going to disturb any of this. And here it shows what's going to be involved in a baseline assessment. And then it gives a chart, a table, which talks about the same sorts of things, but it gives the regulatory requirements. And then this last part is not what you'd put in it. This would be what you would be using for your own assessment. So I just showed it to you. So now we're going to go back up and do another one. So here's we're going to do this prompt. This is to give us a summary of what we've done for the class. So it says what most of you are, your working environmental professionals, consultants, scientists, project managers, interested people in the public. We've done sessions on all of these things, foundations of AI, AI for research and report writing, AI for field and lab interpretation, AI for regulatory and compliance work, AI for business development and proposals, and AI for remote sensing and geospatial AI. So I've said, give us a summary, and it's already done. So this happened, how long did that take? A minute, Mark? Not very long.
Yeah, very quick.
So I didn't read this. It said there's your demo. See live. Your class just watched an AI close a 7 session course in under 60 seconds. And it did. And that's all what is right here. And then the first demo that I didn't do, because I'd done it in one of our previous sessions, was to use the Sentinel satellite. So we talk a lot about Google Earth and some of the others. And then the one that is free is the Sentinel-1 and Sentinel-2 Explorer. I don't know why. Here we go. Now it's loading. This wasn't loading for me just a few minutes ago. I have to get rid of this bookmark session here. Zoom, for whatever reason, makes pages a lot bigger than they were. So I've got to always make them, there we go, make them smaller so we can see things. Get rid of this. So now you see the whole dynamics. So this is not Google Earth, not Google Maps, Google My Maps. This is ESRI Sentinel-2 Explorer. And I'm sure this is not showing us our part of the world. It usually ends up showing someplace. Yeah, it's in Algeria. I'm not sure why it does that. So we're going to go over here to where we're actually at. Here's the highway. Here's where we're going to be, is right over here in this corner. Right here this is the exact location. We want to be up a little higher. I want to show this one. So this is McBride Creek flowing this direction. The Idaho Oregon border is right here. this is 2 miles from right here to the highway, right down here. It's spinning and changing color is because this is a big map in terms of data size, and I'm trying to get it to do things too quickly. So this is McBride Creek flowing from up this direction, making an almost 90-degree turn back down towards Oregon. I'm hoping that it actually will clear up a little bit and be a little higher resolution. This is Dead Horse Creek here, coming this way, down here, and then back, and merging with McBride Creek right here. And then, if you remember, we can then look at different categorizations of it. And we're not going to do that right now, but I was going to take the terrain out and show you what it will look like when you don't have terrain shown. It's taking the terrain out. It's taking a little bit of time here. Notice how there's an Oregon border. Here's this again. You don't see the colors of the vegetation. Notice how that's gone now. And this is coming back here as we're coming, but it's still a little different look. So now let's go back up here. There's the color, and that's Sentinel-2, and the second is NDVI vegetation. So we're going to actually look at the color and the vegetation. And I'm telling it that it should write up what it sees in both of these. So I'm going to copy this. Here, copy it, put it in the prompt, and go ahead and run it. I didn't attach it. It's gonna, so here I'll show you what will happen when you make a mistake. It's gonna say, what are you showing me? There's nothing here. Yeah, see, I don't see the images attached. So I've got to attach the image. And I would do that by using this plus sign here. And I'll tell it, yes, I forgot the image. So what I need to do is go in and take the image, which is this, copy it, and go back. I'm putting the link in now. I just copied. And now it should be able to pull it. Mark, any other questions or anything?
I don't see questions yet. So yeah, we are good on questions.
You're right. I've got to get and it's telling me I have them from April. Just upload those from the chat. So here's what's cool. Just upload these. Copy this, put it right here. It's thinking. So here we go. I'm going to go anonymously. We do want to get over to North America. Which is Idaho. And then I'm going to follow the prompt that it tells me. Search Owyhee County, Idaho. Um, it's loading. Here you're seeing it come up. The data is still loading. Not sure there's more than one Owyhee County in the United States, so you don't really have to put Idaho. Select the Sentinel-2. We're going to select Sentinel-2. Which one did it say? 2A, L2A, or L1C? L2A. Okay, selected. And we're going to switch between true colors and the NDVA. Saves as a JPEG. All right. So we're going to switch between the two, but we're going to get closer first. So this is going to take a second to focus. It is. And it's still not quite there. We're right, it's right in this area. But we need to get it first, and we're going to, still says it's loading. This might take us longer than we want. We're going to switch between the background map and the LiDAR visualization. So we're going to do true color in DVI layers. I was having a connection issue yesterday with this, and this is something that this is fixed on here, and it'll allow me to make sure every day it looks at this and gets it right. Let's go back to see if we're done yet. Looks like it is loaded now. Close. There's US 95. I think it's right here. I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. Dead Horse Creek right here. McBride Creek right here. And this is the color imagery. And we want to search for filters, which could be the LDVMI data. Come on, let's find it here. Not what we want. We want vegetation. We've got NDVI. Let's go 2020 to the present. So then we want to search. Search. All right. So now it's going to run this. I want to get rid of, I want to move that over. All right. So it's right over here. And this is now giving us the DVI, which is a way in which you can visualize vegetation specifically. And it's not loaded yet. We'll go look at quickly at something else while it's loading. See if it's loaded yet. Not quite. That's the state line, by the way. This will start to turn different colors when this is fully loaded. But I'm gonna stop right here because we can come back to this because I want to get back to our presentation here. make sure that we can get to the questions here. So some of you are environmental professionals, some of you aren't. But if you look away from this course, what I hope you will, and we're going to obviously be turning this in, we'll be editing it, turning it into 5-minute sessions for a course. We do that with all of our courses. If you came in as just a regular old environmental professional and you learn what I've taught in the last 7 sessions, you're going to leave with an unfair advantage over a number of others. What you now know, you know foundations. How do these LLMs work? What's different from one to another? So why is Claude different than OpenAI, which is different from Manus? You've learned about prompt engineering. How do you make good prompts? We had a whole session on research and reporting. How do you write faster memos? How do you do better literature reviews? How do you use it for field work and data interpretation? We had a session on permitting and comment responses and gap analysis. And then business development, how do you write proposals, client communication, market research, and then satellite imagery. So what actually changed? Before was AI was something that only tech companies do. Now it's a tool that you can deploy and use it on client work. You know how to prompt. It's not just a query. You know where AI is reliable and where it hallucinates. You can process satellite imagery without a GIS department. You can draft a baseline memo before you leave your desk, and you can write better proposals and faster than any of your competition. So essentially, we're saying that the environmental professional who masters these wins is the one who wins. The environmental professional who ignores AI won't be replaced by AI. They'll be replaced by the one who doesn't. That's my quote, right? I've said that before. So here's an example of what you could do between now and Monday. Pick one task this weekend and run it through AI, a memo, a data set, a satellite call, a proposal section, just one. Pull a Sentinel-2 image. So remember that's this cool form of imagery that we were just at. And again, it takes a little while to load when when you've got to wait. Like this is Sentinel-2. Build your prompt library. Save prompts that worked. Use them over and over and over. Share what you find. Teach at least one colleague one thing. The best way to learn is to teach someone. You learn when you teach. Small, consistent moves. That's how it sticks. Anyway, this is just what we'll use when we're doing this on replays for people. But this has been fun, and it's been an honor to kind of help you and be with you as we went through it. So we've still got about 10 minutes left. Mark, why don't you go to questions that we've had from not related to AI, because we've kind of skipped on those over the last several weeks. So throw some of those out at me.
All right, so here is, um, okay, let me see. Here is,
Was the image that we did earlier. where it's just the NDVI.
Okay, so here is one nature-based solutions harness ecosystems like forest, wetlands, and soil to capture carbon, protect biodiversity, and mitigate climate change. Any thoughts? So that's from Alicia.
It's in there somewhere. I don't know where it was. I'm not sure what thoughts are. She just
Uh,
gave it back. I'm not sure what.
yeah, it's pretty long question. Uh, and she's asking about your thoughts on, I think, biodiversity and mitigate climate change. So yeah, so forest, wetland, and soil. Yeah, these are all uh, relevant questions, I think, to mitigate climate change.
Go with somebody else. Let's go with something that's so again that looks like a comment, and we always post these, everybody, and Alicia always comes up with some great questions and some great comments.
Okay, so here is another one. An environmental assessment, EA, is a concise preliminary.
It's not a question. That's just her telling us
Okay,
something. So again,
all right. Uh, okay,
here's a bunch. There's just notes. She's just talking about things, which is great. A wave from the Coachella Mountains. Where's this? It's kind of, is there a picture of it? That'd be cool from Paul, from Patrick, excuse me. I don't
Patrick, yeah.
see it there actually. Alicia has Dr. Fewer with her. Good to have you here, Doctor.
Yeah, so Dr.
He's at
Fever,
Disney World this week at Epcot Center. Very cool.
droughts mitigation plans in the Western USA. Any thoughts? Any, okay. The Western USA, any thoughts about water shortages currently happening?
I don't think there are nearly as much as what people think right now. So I'll just be honest about that. We're going to potentially see them, but they're not happening right now. If anything, we've got more water than we need in some places, but they could certainly be happening in the future.
Right, yeah. Water is going to be scarce, especially in our part of the world. Uh, Waste and pollution is two big issues. So, and we're taking all the groundwater out. So most of the water that we have is groundwater right now. So that's going to be a problem. And also, yeah, Wayne did a whole session on water earlier.
It's
Okay,
interesting. There's one of our listeners is saying that Corpus Christi is having water shortages. Let's look that up. Let's just see
okay.
about that on a bit of a search here. Just give a prompt and say, tell me.
Yeah, I used Gemini and gave me some answer.
What does yours say, Mark?
It says you are exactly right. Corpus Christi is currently enduring a severe multi-year drought that has severely depleted its primary reservoir, Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon. to historic lows.
I'm using Wilma right now, so another open claw. And yours came from Gemini. Gemini is a LLM, so
Uh-huh.
it is Chrome's, Google's LLM.
Right. Google's, yes.
So here's what it states. Corpus Christi is on track to be the first U.S. city to run out of water, potentially as early as 2027. There's a political side to it. This is where it gets messy. The city's been trying to build a $978 million desalination plant in the inner harbor that could produce 30 million gallons of drinking water a day. However, their city council is very divided. They killed the project in September of 2025 after a decade of planning. The costs had ballooned from 160 million to 1.2 billion. They then revived it as the drought worsened. This week they voted 7-2 to delay it again. The delay came right after one of their people in the group, it sounds like, downgraded the city's bond rating double A minus to A minus. I don't know what I'm sorry. Fitch is the grading entity of bonds. So Fitch downgraded it. Governor Abbott has threatened a state takeover of the city. So that's the political angle. Here's the industrial angle. Refineries are the biggest water users and the biggest reason the desalination plant was designed at scale. They won't sign contracts to buy water from the plant until the city commits to building it. The city won't commit to build it without the contracts. It's a classic chicken and egg deadlock. So one bright spot. As of this week, a super El Nino weather pattern is bringing rain. Lake Corpus Christi could rise to 30% of capacity by the end of the week. That's buying some time, but experts say it doesn't solve the structural long-term problem. So here's the bottom line. It's a slow-moving crisis driven equally by drought, political paralysis, and tension between the industrial water demand and the environmental concerns about the bay. The September Council vote on desalination is the next major inflection point. Why do they wait till September to have a vote? Is this relevant to my world? Maybe. This is exactly the kind of situation where environmental consulting firm with remote sensing and AI capabilities could be doing serious work right now. So let's just say, what serious work could we do? I'm not sharing my screen, by the way. I'm typing this in the background.
Yeah, we see Wilma thinking.
Oh, you do? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I thought I'd stop sharing. Oh, I didn't stop. So cool. You're seeing it. I wanted you. So that's
Yes.
great. Real time, again, pull Sentinel-2 imagery of Lake Corpus Christi, do it in monthly, track surface area change, turbidity, and sediment load over time, build a simple change direct detection dashboard, sell it to the city water department, regional planning, or industrial water users who need independent monitoring. Cost to deliver almost zero, value to the client enormous. Wow, that is very cool. Desalination siting analysis. Might be better sites than what they've said. Here's a cool one. This one's clearly underrated. Package a monthly Corpus Christi Water Watch briefing, reservoir levels, council actions, regulatory developments, weather outlook. Sell it as a subscription to law firms, real estate developers, industrial operators, and investors with exposure in the region. Pure AI research, no field work required. the September council vote on desalination is the trigger date. Whoever shows up with data analysis and credibility before that vote gets the work that follows it. Want me to prepare a single one-page capability you could send to Corpus Christi area contracts text right now? Yep, do it. This is what's amazing, guys. I mean, those were really intelligent thoughts of where there's work to be done here.
Yes.
Reservoir monitoring, water source screening, desalination siting analysis, industrial waterway auditing consulting, and then this political intelligence product, which is what we're working on. Okay, so the memo's done. Look at this.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I think water purification is one thing that could be done because a lot of contamination and pollution is big issue.
I have say this is a Word doc. Paste it.
Save it as Word doc.
I'm going to say and format it. And it's going to do it, and that's what we'll end on. And this is a great thought. Who wants to go into business with me that's on this webinar, and we'll do this together?
Yeah. And maybe we can have Dr. Fewer even come as a speaker, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's up to him. He's been asked several times before.
Mm.
So it's building the Word doc and the one-page PDF. It's going to be done in about 30 seconds. And we are right at the top of the hour anyway. So we'll just go a little tiny bit longer here. Just about done. Great way to end this. It's taking a little longer than I thought, but not much, not bad. You got to be patient. So any other questions at the very end, Mark? No, it's doing it right now. Here it is. Anytime this little thing starts spinning, you know, it's just about done.
So
There it
here's
is.
a question. A large number of countries in Africa are building tea green wall to slow the spread of Sahara Desert. So any thoughts? I can look it up. So,
Here's the PDF that I asked it for, which
oh yeah.
there'll be some mistakes in it, but otherwise it's, you know, it's not, it would have taken me hours to do this.
Mhm. So the Great Green Walls, yeah, that's something Africa is doing. That's correct.
There's a Word version. Everybody, this would take hours and hours and hours to do if you didn't. And I would have never thought of it. Again, Alicia brought up that there's a water crisis in Corpus Christi. Let's go help them solve it. All right. Well, we are done with today and this session. We're actually done with our course now. Mark and I and Arib and others will be turning it into something that we then put onto the EAT community site and break it up into short segments. We'll probably do a bunch of little 30 to 1 minute long Opus clips, right, Mark? That'll be available on our Facebook and our YouTube pages
Yes,
early next week.
correct.
So anyway, everybody have a great weekend. It's a Thursday, but I've met 5 people today already who don't even work Fridays anymore. Unfortunately, some of us still have to, but um, next week we'll start talking more broadly about other things and leave AI behind for a little bit. And we sure appreciate all of you. And let's